Good afternoon, everybody. If you would, as you come in, if you would go ahead and sign in on the comments page, let me know that you're here. I'm seeing you, I've admitted you, but I want to have a record that you were here. So go on and go to the comments page and Zoom and go ahead and let me know that you're here. And we'll start in just a few minutes. Good morning, guys. If you're just joining me, thank you for being here. If you would go ahead and as you come in, go ahead and put your names in the comment section. That way it's kind of a way for me to take attendance, and we'll get started in just a few minutes. Again, thanks for joining us. We're going to get started here in just about another 2 minutes. If you would go ahead and sign into the chat box if you're just getting here. That way, that's a way I can keep roll and know that you're here. And I'm going to give everybody else about 2 minutes to get logged in, and then we'll go ahead and start. Okay. Well, hello, everybody. I am glad you have made it. My name is Ernie Lee, and I get the privilege of being your facilitator as you're starting this classroom management class. Also, welcome to the Teach Savannah Learning Academy. I'm glad that y'all have decided to become teachers, and it is my job to equip you and get you started. Now, I realize that most of you, well, all of you actually are already in the classroom. And so what we're going to learn, and I will tell you this, when I took the class, gosh, what, 12 years ago, I was in a class very similar to this. And the thing I liked so much about this class was that stuff I learned on Monday night, I could actually put into work on Tuesday morning. So hopefully that's going to be your experience as well. So again, glad everybody is here. If you've got a question, just go ahead and post that in the chat box, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen again. And if you've just joined us, if you would please go ahead and put your name in the chat box. That is a way for me to kind of take roll. Okay. Well, with enough ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, well, again, my name is Ernie Lee. I'm actually a teacher just like you. I'm at the Savannah Arts Academy, and you've got my phone number here and my email if you need to email me. You can also do that through the Schoolology platform as well. But a little bit about me. I've got a bachelor's in psychology from Mercer University. I've also got a Juris Doctorate degree from Samford University's Cumberland School of Law. I actually practiced law before I became a teacher, and I absolutely love teaching. So, and hopefully that will be the same for you. But I've also got a certificate from Savannah-Chatham County's Georgia Academy for Teacher Preparation and Pedagogy, the GTAP program. And that was the forerunner to the Teach Savannah Learning Academy. And I tell you all that to let you know that I've been through what you're doing. Okay. You know, taking several classes and then teaching full-time, as also having a family to be a part of as well. I know it's not easy. So my hope is that when I give you your task, they're going to be very plain and simple, that what you've got to do. And you know, there won't be any guessing with it. But of course, if you've got questions, you can always call me or email me and ask me. The classes I've taught or I'm teaching include AP Psychology, World History, IB History of the Americas, a hybrid class with Savannah Tech, instructional focus. I teach psychology, sociology currently, economics, IB History, 20th century of the world. I've also been a SPED inclusion teacher. I've also taught student study skills, and I've also been an adjunct at Georgia Southern teaching education law. So again, I bring a lot of stuff into it. But really, even before I was a teacher, I worked as a trainer with the Georgia Department of Revenue. I also worked with the Georgia Department of Technical and Adult Education, and with Georgia Department of Human Resources and Public Health. And what brought me to Savannah was I was an attorney at Savannah College of Art and Design. So I bring a lot into it. Now, this is an example of how I start classes at the beginning of the year. Okay. What I do is I bring myself into the classroom. Students know something about me. They know about my pets. They know, you know, where I went to school. They know about my family members, all kinds of stuff, because I'm bringing myself into the classroom. Now, with that being said, I'm not their friend, but I am a friendly teacher. In other words, I do care about my kids. I greet them, but I know something about them. And that really makes me human to them. Okay. Now I teach upper high school. So if you're doing elementary K through 2, it's going to be different for you as well. But again, I have photographs of me in my classroom, and so they know something about me. And of course, I smile from day one. And my goal is to have an inviting and warm classroom. I do stand at the door and greet the kids, you know, when they come in. before every class, and actually, and I say goodbye to them as they go out. But it's, you know, it's, and I know this in psychology, it's like the energy that I have is the energy that I put out, is the energy I get back. And so I always have great classes because I really bring a lot of energy into it. And I think as a teacher, that is something that you can pick up on as well. Okay, well, so this is our agenda for today. Of course, welcome and introductions. I think some of you have already introduced yourself on the discussion board. And if you haven't had an opportunity to do that, you can do that this week. And I also want to review what we're going to do today. So, like I said, I teach upper high school, and this is an example of how I start all of my classes. I want students to feel in control, so they know what they're doing. Even though I'm the teacher and I'm directing it, they know what's going to happen. Okay. And again, this is part of my classroom management plan. So we're going to look at the standards for classroom management from the Georgia TICAS. Then we're going to discuss really how we're going to be working together in this class. And then probably the big thing is we're going to talk about the final assessment first. In other words, what you've got to turn in at the end, you know, to be able to pass the class, and then some other course requirements as well. And then we're going to define classroom management, really what it is. And we're going to differentiate between policies and procedures. So that's my goal. Oops, I got somebody in the waiting room. Let me let them in. Okay. Let's see. Okay, good. Okay, so also the other thing, guys, is that this, I'm recording this session, and after we're through, I will post it if you want to go back through and listen to it again. Also, all the slides I've already got posted on Schoology. Okay. Let's see. Also, we're going to talk about the textbook. There's been a kind of a snafu with the textbook. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, and then we'll discuss any questions you may have. So I know you've been teaching all day. I've been up since 4:30. I know it's been a long day for everybody. So we're going to blow through this pretty quick, but we'll also save time for questions at the end. Let's see. Hey, Riley, I know you just got in. What I was telling everybody is that the slides will be posted on Schoology, and I've recorded the session. So even though you missed just a little bit of the first, you can still pick it up. Okay, we're glad you're here. Okay, great. Okay, so the syllabus, both are already posted on Schoology. Take a look at those. There's some guidelines in there. And of course, if you've got questions, please email me, let me know. You know, and there's my email. You can also email me on the Schoology platform. Now, I know that you have not received your textbooks yet because they were late in ordering them. And I'm going to show you what the textbook looks like. I'm going to stop the screen share here. And this is what it is. It's the Classroom Management book. It's written by Harry K. Wong and his wife, Rosemary Wong. They are incredible. They're like the premier classroom management folks. Now, they also have a book called The First Day of School. That is a great book. This is that first day of school on steroids. That's why we're using it. Now, I just spoke to the office this afternoon, and they were late in ordering the books. So you don't need the book for this first week's session. Okay, so don't worry about that. Hopefully we're going to get them in this week, or I will let you, if they don't come in for some reason, I will email you and let you know. Okay. Okay, let me go back to sharing my screen here. Okay, so again, the syllabus and the course schedule. There we go. The syllabus and the course schedule is already in there. And like I said, you don't need the book for the first assignment. Okay, so you know, we're a standard, we have standards-based classrooms. And so we're a standards-based class here. And so based upon the TICAS, and if you probably have had in your pre-planning, you've already probably looked at TICAS and you've been talking about it. Well, this classroom management class is a part of that as well. So we're really looking at standard 7, a positive learning environment. So by the time you get through with this class in 6 weeks, you're gonna know what a positive learning environment looks like. And so what the TEAC standard says is that the teacher provides a well-managed, safe, and orderly environment that's conducive to learning and encourages respect for all. So by having a good classroom management plan, you're going to be able to do that. Okay. So let me tell you some of the goals for this class. What you're going to do, like I said before, is you're going to prepare your own custom classroom management plan. And you're going to do it each part every week. And so with this, I'm going to give you some suggestions. You're going to be reading some stuff, but you're really going to come away with your own set of policies and procedures and routines. And I know you probably already have put some together because we've already been in school for a couple of weeks, right? But what I want to do with this class is to help you hone that down, okay? And so I'm really talking about the ending here at the beginning. So you're going to do this final project where you present your own classroom management plan, and it's pretty much pass or fail. But with that being said, you are going to write a part of it every week. You're going to submit it to me, and I'm going to read it, kind of evaluate it, and give you some suggestions to make it better. Okay. So like I said, when we come to the 5th week, you've already done all the work. It's just going to be putting it all together. Okay. So again, when you work on it through the weeks, as you're working on this, you're going to submit it to me. I'm going to read it, look at it, evaluate it, give you some feedback, offer some suggestions. Okay. And like I said, you'll complete your final project. You'll complete a section rather of your final project every week. Now, I know that we come from all different grade levels, different schools, and we work with really different students, right? So the plan that I put together for me is not going to work for you. And the plan you put together is not going to work for me. But there are some things that will be common to each plan that we put together. Okay. Now, and as a new teacher, you can actually use this plan and adapt it from year to year to fit your current students and circumstances. Now, when I went through the Teach Savannah Learning Academy as its forerunner, I was a special ed inclusion teacher, right? And so I had my plan that I put together. And then as I moved into general education as a social studies teacher, you know, I had to really change my plan to make it fit my new circumstances. And then when I changed schools and I was teaching in a different program, yes, it had to change again. But I had the bones all put together. And so that's really what you're going to be doing in this class. Okay. And again, what worked for me as a 9th grade world history teacher did not work for me as an IB history teacher on a 4x4 block, but I was able to adapt it. Okay. Now, but again, some things will work across the board, and we will talk about those from week to week. Okay, so your final assessment is going to be, again, submitting your own classroom management plan. And this is what it's going to have. You're going to have classroom rules and behavior plans. And again, if you're teaching kindergarten through 2nd grade, that's going to be really different from grades 5, 6, and 7, or 9, 10, 11, or 10, 11, 12. Okay. You're also going to have procedures on how to communicate to and from students, parents, administration, fellow faculty, grade team, departments, whatever, and other stakeholders. Okay. Now don't freak out, because you're going to be learning this as you go through. Okay. You're also going to have procedures on how do you assess and how do you grade? How do you keep up with grades? How often do you test? Okay. You're going to talk about procedures for remediation. What happens when you give a test and a lot of the students, don't pass it? Well, that happened to me in an honors psychology class. I gave a test and a lot of the kids failed it. So I had to have remediation. There we go. It's a long day. A remediation plan. And so my plan was they had to do test corrections, and then they had to come in after school and resit and retake the test. So that was my plan. That works for higher level students, and it's going to be different from other level students. You're also going to have procedures for scaffolding for working with struggling and or gifted students, because you interact with those a little bit different. And you're going to have, there's a good chance you're going to have special needs kids in with gifted kids and with regular kids. So how do you balance that off? And so that's something that we're going to be working on in this class. Also, procedures for transitions, grade or class changes, handing in work, etc. As an example for that, I used to have a box with drawers in it, and each class had a drawer. And now I've gone away from that, because again, I'm working with upper high school students where I've got everything on Google Classroom. So they don't hand me any paper. They pretty much submit it on Google Classroom, and then I grade it and get it back to them. But again, I had to teach that at the beginning of the year. Okay. And so really it's anything that's going to impact your classroom in a positive manner is really what we're looking for in this classroom management plan. Okay. So are there any questions? You can raise your hand if you got a question. Okay, I don't see any hands, so let me make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Okay, well, let's keep going then. So I'm a lawyer, and I will tell you, the first time I wrote a set of classroom rules, I swear they were 38 bullet points, and there were subsections and subsections of subsections. And my mentor kind of laughed and said, you are not in the class. You are in the classroom. You're not in the court system. You don't have to write, a code, a penal code for this, and so, so what is the difference between a policy and a procedure? Well, a policy is really a guiding principle that's used to set for your classroom. And it can be a directive from the state DOE, it could be the school board, or it could be your administration. This is the policy. This is how we're gonna act, or what we're gonna do. And a procedure is different. A procedure is a step-by-step way to be followed, to be consistent, to accomplish a result. So the policy may be that we've got students that are prepared for college or work or the military upon graduation. So that may be the policy. And my procedures may be, we've got to do this, this, and this to reach the next level. Okay, so policies and procedures. And both should be part of your classroom management plan. And you will see that, of course, as we go through the course. Okay, so really, why is a plan so important? Well, it's directives for your classroom, and many of the school district policies are actually found in your teacher handbook that you probably received during pre-planning at your school. And so that's some of your your policies already, and there may be procedures in there. Okay. So we've got this stuff in the faculty handbook, right? Or the teacher handbook, but we've also may have other things that will come up from your administrators at your school, like bus duty, right? Or cafeteria duty or something like that you've got to follow, right? And so it might be like hall passes or restroom passes or passes to go to the media center library, right? This is going to impact your classroom. And so you need to incorporate that as an example into your classroom management plan. Okay. Everybody with me? Okay. Okay, good. Now, if a routine is not working, then you can change it. And one thing I really want to impress on you is that once you write a classroom management plan, it is not in stone. You can change it. As a matter of fact, if it's not working, you probably do need to change it. Okay. And again, we're going to talk more about that as we get into the class. And when you change it, then you've really got to explain it, kind of teach it to your students or reteach it. And of course, in age appropriate language. So that's something to look at. And then of course, building good routines and friendly relationships is really what's going to help you the most in your classroom management situations. I always say that I've always accused of getting, you always get the good classes. And I say, yeah, I do. But actually, I make them into good classes. And part of that is letting them know this is how we do it. This is how you turn in papers. You've got to have a heading. This is what a heading has on it. This is how we line up to go to recess, or this is how we line up to go to lunch. When we teach those things to our kids, then they know what to do. I had a principal tell me one time, and it was really good advice, and this is why I'm passing it along to you as well, that don't assume a child knows anything. You've got to teach them everything. Now, so again, meaning that you think, well, they're in 7th grade, of course they know how to line up to go to lunch. Well, they may not. So again, you just say, okay, guys, remember this, you may already know this, but this is how we line up to go to lunch. Let's practice it, right? And that way you're giving children the opportunity to be successful, okay? And then if you do make a change, I found that it's really best to make it either at the beginning of the day, or maybe even on a Monday to begin the week, or after a holiday break. So what I'll do is I will teach my rules and procedures at the first day of school, then I will reteach it, and then I will revisit it. And then after a break, say after the Labor Day break, when they've had a long weekend, I'll come back and say, okay, guys, remember, this is what we do. This is how we do it. And you just kind of remind them, and because kids will forget, but if you teach them, they're going to know. Does that make sense? Is there everybody with me? Okay. And then again, I like I said, I routinely teach them at the beginning of a quarter and a semester. Okay, so getting to know your students. And I know you've already been doing this already, but your relationships can make or break a classroom. Okay, now let me tell you what I mean by that. A seating chart, if you don't have one, I really recommend it. And there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, it helps you get to know names and faces. But also, you can, again, while you're not a student's friend, to be effective at times, you need to be friendly and approachable. And so getting to know their names is going to be part of that. Now, the other thing about a seating chart is, if you think back on the first day of school, what it was like for you, you're kind of anxious, and kids are going to be the same way. So it's like, where do I sit? Am I going to sit here? Am I going to be welcome? Well, a seating chart takes that anxiety away. Yes, you're going to sit here. And it really kind of helps the kids fit in. So, that is something also to look at. Looks like we got a couple people got bumped out. Okay. And so again, that's something to look at as well. Also, again, really, it's all about relationships, guys. And again, while I say you're not their friend, you got to be friendly to them. And remember, the energy you put out, if you're positive and thoughtful and sincere, guess what? Most of the time, you're going to get that back from your students. Like, that's why I greet my kids and say, good morning, happy Monday, we're glad you're here, because I want them to feel welcome, right? And I also tell them that why I love being a teacher, and I can't be a teacher without students. So every one of them are important to me. So that's something to work on too, as well. Of course, how you speak to students, your tone of voice, the manner and choice of words are also important. Like, kind of a secret that I do is that if I've got to get onto a student because they're just not acting right, of course, I don't ever punish them in front of the whole class. I'm going to pull them over to the side. And I kind of say, look, I'm not yelling at you. I just want to explain this to you. And really, I am yelling at them, right? Because I'm getting on to them, but I don't say it in that tone of voice. I let the kids save face. And again, most of the time, that positive energy I give out is going to be the positive energy I'm going to get back. Okay. Not always, but most of the time that's true. Now, so again, hopefully I'm going to share something with you today that you can put into account tomorrow. Okay. This is going to be one of those lessons, right? That will not only change the difficult student, because, we've all got them. Does anybody not have a difficult student? Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. We've all got difficult students at times, right? And so this can really make and break your classroom. So there's not many things you can do to change a difficult student. And trust me, I've had my share of them, right? You can't change his or her experience of the world. Okay. You can't change where he or she lives. You also can't change how he or she thinks or experiences the world. But there's one thing you can change, and that is your attitude. You can start to see students in a different light. Now, I want to tell you a quick story about a student of mine named Bubba. Now, Bubba's not his real name, of course. I changed the name to protect the innocent or the guilty. But Bubba was a student who, and it was really like this time of year. It was just first of the year had just started. And Bubba came to class late. Not a couple of minutes. We're talking 30, 45 minutes late. Okay. And again, the first weeks of school. And, we got into a fight. Whenever he came in, it's like, where were you? Why are you late? Whatever. And this happened for 2 weeks. Okay. And finally, I was exasperated. I didn't know what to do. And somebody said, well, if you can't change anything, you can change your attitude. So this is what I did. The bell rings. And of course, I look down the hallway because I don't want to close the door on anybody, even if they're late. And I see Bubba, right? And he is walking down the hall. He's in no particular hurry. The bell's already rang. And I stand out in the hallway with a big smile waiting for him. And he comes up and he's looking for a fight, right? Because I've fought with him every day for 2 weeks over him being late. And this time I'm thinking, I'm going to change my attitude. So he comes up and I smile at him and I say, Bubba, you are almost on time. Give me a high five. He's blown away because he's expecting a fight. And he kind of looks at me, gives me the high five and like, what's happened to Mr. Lee? And I say, listen, do you need to borrow a book? And he starts to give me this story about his locker and his book. And I said, no, I don't care about any of that. I've got a book. Do you want to borrow it? And he goes, yeah. I said, great. Do you have pencil and paper? And of course, I could see he didn't have anything with him, but I asked him, do you have pencil and paper? And again, he started to tell me about, oh, he couldn't get into his locker. And I said, Bubba, I don't care about any of that. I've got pencil and paper. Do you want to borrow it? And he goes, yes. And I say, come on in. We can start class. You're here now. And he comes in. Okay. What about the next day? So what happens the next day? Do you think he's on time? No, he's not on time. He's still late. And I still stand out in the hall and I do the same thing. And I bring him on in. Well, you know, I have a seating chart. And at that time I was moving the seating chart every week. And so I would move the seating chart and have Bubba, you know, sit right by my desk. And if the kids didn't like the seating chart, I would say, look, if you don't like it, just hang with it for a week because you know it's going to change next week. And so the next week, you know, Bubba changed desk, but he was still like right up next to me. Okay. And so this went on and I got to know Bubba. I started talking to him. And I said, well, hey, you know, what do you do after school? When you finish school, what are you going to do? He says, well, I like to go play basketball, but I can't. And he pointed down to his ankle and he had an electronic monitoring bracelet. Okay. Cause he'd been in trouble. And I go, oh man, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. But we would, you know, talk on and on. He would get suspended in school suspension. And I would get the list and I would grab a book and grab the work we were doing that day. And I would go down and see him in school suspension. And I would, you know, every day he was in there, I would go see him and talk to him and give him the work. And I'll say, I'll see you in class tomorrow. And he said, nah, Mr. Lee, I'm in here for 2 days. I said, well, okay, I'll see you tomorrow then. And I'll pick up your work, you know, tomorrow from today's work. He goes, okay. So I am doing this and I am building pretty good rapport with Bubba. Okay. And so one day I ask him, I say, Bubba, what are you going to do when you graduate? And he got angry. And I go, Bubba, no. I don't want to make you mad. I said, I'm just curious. What are you going to do when you graduate? And then it occurred to me later that I don't think anybody had ever talked to him about graduation. Now, I also didn't tell you he's 17, but he's marked as a 9th grader. He hadn't passed any classes. And so people just assumed he wasn't going to graduate. Well, I put it out there. I had faith in him. And I said, Bubba, let me tell you, I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. I will be there clapping for you when you walk across the stage to get your diploma. Something changed. Okay. Now he's coming to my class. He is on time. We've got a new student transfers in. She talks real smart to me. He jumps up and is going to fight her saying, you don't talk to Mr. Lee like that. And I go, Bubba, hold on. It's her first day. Let her get to know me first, you know, but it was, we created this kind of bond. And again, I would, you know, he'd be suspended. I'd go see him. Well, one day I get a phone call from the office and the secretary calls and says, can you send Bubba up to the office? I've got to change his batteries in his bracelet. And I said, oh, you know, this is not a really good time. He is right in the middle of working on an assignment. You know, his grades have really come up. He's not yet passing, but he's getting there. I said, can you get him in another class? Because today he's really working hard. And she cut me off and said, no, Mr. Lee, you don't understand. Bubba doesn't go to any other classes, but I know on Thursdays at 11 a.m. he's in your class. I go, oh, okay, send him back as soon as he gets his battery. So a little bit of information there about Bubba. Now, all I did was I changed my attitude and he picked it up. Now, one time I caught him cheating. Okay. He had copied another student's paper and it was real obvious. And I called him up again, not in front of the whole class, but I called him up and I said, Bubba, come on. You know what? You have fooled every teacher in this school. I know you're smart. I know you can do this work. You copied this paper. Oh, Mr. Lee. I said, come on, Bubba. You know you copied it. It's word for word. Look, I know you're smart. I know you can do this. Would you do this on your own and bring it back to me? And he did. Okay, so again, just from good classroom management, this student is changing. So it goes on. There's one day he's not in class. So I check the suspension list and he's not on it. And I go, uh-oh, something's wrong here. And then after school, I call and he's no longer enrolled. And I call and say, what happened? Well, didn't know, but evidently, he wasn't in school. And then I found out a couple of months later that he had gone off campus, had robbed somebody, got caught, and he is in the prison system. As a matter of fact, I saw his picture in the paper a couple of months later. Now, why am I telling you this story without a happy ending? I want you to think about this. Bubba did not have to come to my class because he didn't go to any other classes, but he came to my class. He had a choice and he chose to come to my class. So I don't know where Bubba is now, lost track of him, but I know that he knows somebody cared about him. And it made a difference how he acted in the classroom. Okay. And, he had a choice. The sad thing is, I wished I'd had Bubba when he was maybe in 3rd grade or 4th grade. I don't know. I don't know what would have happened. But I know by me having good classroom management, getting to know somebody, believing in a student, it changed my class for the better. And I had hoped it would have changed Bubba as well. Classroom management really can make a difference. Okay, let me go back to my screen here. Okay, share. Here we go. Okay. So Schoolology is the platform that we're going to be using. Hopefully everybody can get into it. There was an issue where I'd sent out the code and people weren't able to join, but I think that's been fixed. I think everybody is a part of it now. And your assignments will always be posted on Schoolology. And I think I've already got them posted actually for the whole class. So what you're going to do is you're going to follow the reading and the tasks for each week. You'll be building your classroom management plan, like I said, in stages. Have you ever heard the term, how do you eat an elephant? Well, you eat it a bite at a time. And so I don't want you to get overwhelmed on this classroom management plan because you're going to be doing a little bit every week. I'm going to be checking your work. I'm going to be recommending stuff to you. Okay. So you're going to do fine if you do the reading and if you do the work. Okay. I'm going to post examples of some things that I've done to help you get an idea. But remember, you want to have something that works for you, for your school, in your circumstances. Okay. Now, let me stop the share here. Let me see if I can do this. Let's see, hold on. Let me see if I can bring up Schoolology because I really want you to see it live. Here we go. Okay. Let's see. Where is it? Hold on. Let me change screens. Okay. Hold on. Bear with me. I am almost there. Log in. Okay, so I got it. Let me see. Okay, I've lost y'all. I know y'all are there. Okay, there we go. There you are. Okay, hold on. Schoolology, where are you? There we go. Okay. So hopefully you're seeing the Schoolology screen. This is, you got my mug here. We're going to go up to courses, and this is Classroom Management Cohort 7. And this is what it's going to look like here. So here's, you've got your syllabus and your schedule. But what I want to jump to is to look at the submittal of your final plan, because again, we're going to start with the end to begin with. Okay. So here is, okay. So here is your final artifact. So if you can see my, can everybody give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Okay. Okay, good, good. So this is your last assignment to be turned in on time if you're to pass the class. So you got to have like a table of contents, and you've got to include at a minimum your teaching philosophy, the first day of school, procedures for students, general operations of the classroom, teaching procedures, special needs students, and procedure for teacher. Okay. So that's what you're going to turn in. And every week we're going to do one or two of these. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm looking at doing. Okay. And then we've also got, let me see, let me go back up. As an example, in the first week, you're going to be working on a teaching philosophy. Well, let me go ahead and click on it. So this is what it says. You can go through and read this later. But also, as a part of week 1, I've given you an example of a teaching philosophy that I wrote. Okay, so you can take a look at mine to see how I did mine. Okay, so you're not going to copy it because it's not your plan, but you can get some ideas of what it is. And I've also got information from the Center for Innovation. If you get this little frowny face, if you just click up here, it's going to bring it up. Okay, redirect notice, continue. There we go. And so that's going to be, again, helping you write your teaching philosophy. Okay. So let me go back. Close that. Okay. And so here we're back at week 1. And of course, this is the presentation that I'm showing you here, if you want to reach that. And then we've also got one from Cornell University. Okay. So again, this is going to be week 1. Now let me stop the share there and let me go back to, okay, share screen. There we go. Okay, so again, all this is in Schoolology. It's a pretty user-friendly platform. You're going to be using it probably in all of your Teach Savannah learning classes. Now, it's important to remember that your assignments are due on Sundays at or before 11:59 p.m. Okay, I do that so you've got all week, and then you've got Saturday and Sunday that you can work on them. And then, of course, see this class schedule posted in Schoolology in the syllabus, but you're really going to work from week to week to week. Okay. Now, our next virtual meeting will be on September the 26th, again at 6:30. It'll last 30 to 45 minutes. So make sure that's on your calendar. And then your final, we'll go for 6 weeks, and your final artifact will be due on October the 2nd. Now, while I won't see you and be online with you, every week I'm going to post a video. It's going to be 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 6 minutes at the most. And it's just kind of basically explain what you're doing. Okay. Now I've written them, you know, everything is written up so you can see it, but I'm also explaining it to you, you know, because, hey, we're visual learners, we're auditory learners, you know, that kind of stuff. So I want to make sure you get that. And I will post those every week. And the other thing, guys, and I'm sorry to say this, the final date is really a hard date because I've got to get these graded because we'll be doing another class together, which is data-driven instruction. So we need to close this one out before we go into the other one. Okay. Okay. Questions. I'm gonna, if you would unmute yourself, if you got questions, feel free to ask them. If you don't have any questions, you're welcome to log off. But again, look at Schoology and make sure you understand it. And if not, you can email me. Okay. Has anybody got any questions? Unmute.
I do. It's just about
Hi.
logging on to Schoology. I thought I'm in our other class,
Oh
but
no.
for some reason this class is not showing up.
Okay.
I'm sure I did it. I'm sure it's
No,
operator error.
are you only taking the data-driven instruction, or are you taking both of them?
I'm taking both.
You are. Okay, you bet. Let me tell you this. Let me see what I can do, and I will email you with the result. It may be that you just weren't entered in for some reason, but I may can fix that tonight. I will email you.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Anybody else? Okay, everybody's going to be shy. That's okay. I love questions. You know, there's no such thing as a dumb question, because if you don't know, there's a chance somebody else doesn't know either. Okay. Okay, well, with that, guys, I know it's been a long day. Happy Monday to you. I'm really glad you're in the class. Make sure that you have signed into the chat box so I can get your attendance here. And I'm going to cut you loose. Have a good week and look for a video to post probably next Sunday. Okay, bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad you're in the
Thank
class.
you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye, guys. Okay.